السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. دعوة يا لمن الدون كات كجوكتان عندنا دعوة نسمع كسر هذا تيفيق على بيجا سومالي جنرال وبرنامج كني على وقت الأربعاء اللي كانوا قلنا أنه هو دين سومالي جرني برنامج كانوا بدنا برنامج لغة هذا دباتوين كقات يعني قلبته وحن وبدلني إن أنا نقول هذا دباتوين كجودنينكا فرعونيكا أفك قلاد مركل صوت قابشل ويقان FGM FGM طبعا وجودنين تاريخ دي هردتكو استعمال الجيران وهذا اللي أورانكرو وكسي بابا أي بلشدة إذا أي جيران عافيمات أهان إيو إنسان أفعلين سيالة بدن أو أيسن لغن كاس يهي لغن سيدي من أي دلني يرضى ما أنت جوكتنا أيسن بدن أهين بمدل الجودة وطن كان UK ما دام أن كل قرنها يدت كان بريتشكا لقالة تيجا يعافيمات أهان إيو برونس كونس كذا يعني كلا قاعدة دونا برنامج كادي الله إنمو برنامجكي waxaa igala qayb qaadanaya aan dhinacayga bidix hadii aan ku bilaamo waxa dhinacayga bidix iyo fadhiya Counselor Anna John oo arintan FGM ka wax badan ka soo qabatay. Counselor, welcome to the program. And dhinacayga midig and Chief Superintendent Gary Campbell oo asaguna FGM ka arinteeda wax badan ka soo qabtay iyo Simon Rose oo Superintendent Simon Rose oo asaguna arrimaha FGM ka iyo qaadkii hadda ka hor aanu ka wareysanay. And gentlemen, ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
daawadayaal showgu insha Allah waxaan isku daynaa English iyo Somali inaan isku dayno si aanu idinkana aan idin fahamsiino daawadayaasha aan fahmin dabcan martidayadana luqadooda waa English aan isu fahno marka raali ahaada laakiin waxaan isku dayayaa inaan wax isku dhex walaaqo idinkuna si aad u fahantaan. Obviously, our show will go on air as I explain to audiences, and I will try here and there to try to translate the answers. If I can come to you first, but obviously this issue of FGM, it's been lately on the media, and a lot of people are talking about it, and you are very much involved, and you've done some sort of report. Can you touch on what's FGM?
Female genital mutilation is a tradition that's practiced in many communities, not just the Somali community, but many communities across the world. And it's a totally unnecessary procedure. It's very harmful to women, very painful and nasty for the girls on whom it's done, completely unnecessary, and it breaks 2 United Nations charters about violence against women and girls and child abuse, and also a violation of human rights. It is illegal in this country and has been since 1985, with more legislation in 2003. So it is not acceptable practice in this country, but it is a tradition in many communities. And I'm so delighted to be here today. Thank you for inviting me, because I've produced this report with some colleagues which are going to help the families in Brent that would need some help from us with their girls and with their women. And hopefully we can make lots of recommendations to make a big change so we can stop it in this country.
Fantastic. And طبعا وسيدا كفهنتين عن ريبور بكديارسي ujeedaduna waxa weeye dadka education in la siiyo oo loo sheego FGM ka iyo dhibaatada ay u keeni karto dadka ahmiyadana laga leeyahay waxa weeye dadka inaan maadaama waxaan wax dhaqan hore iska yihiin in la siiyo information iyo aqoon la siiyo laakiin aan cidna aysan qabsan dhinaca kale. If I come to you Mr. Gary Campbell and Chief Superintendent Gary Campbell, obviously the government is doing in terms of education, trying to work with the local governments, but legality also, the police are trying to enforce the law. What are your intake on this?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for inviting us here today. I would just like to endorse some of the points that Anne has just made. We've got to be absolutely critically clear that female genital mutilation or female cutting is a criminal offence in the UK. In fact, it is an offence in a whole host of different countries throughout the world. It is a problem which transcends national and international boundaries, and is not solely a harmful traditional practice associated with the Somali community. It is practiced and affects a number of women and girls. The World Health Organization estimates somewhere in the region of 100 to 140 million girls and women throughout the country having undergone female genital mutilation. It is a human rights abuse. It is one of the cruelest forms of child abuse affecting girls and women. To the UK, we've had legislation in the UK now for 28 years. The current legislation makes it an offence to conduct female genital mutilation here in the UK, and also for permanent residents of the UK to take their children abroad to perhaps countries of origin and have FGM practiced in the countries of origin. That is a criminal offence which can be prosecuted back here in the UK as well.
So daawadayaal sida aad intii laga badan ka fahamteenba laba point uma runtii hadalkiisa kala baxaya waa FGM ku waa arin legal ah oo sharci ka soo baxay United Nations ka laftigiisa uu mamnuucay waxa la dhahaa buu yiri according to United Nations ka 140 milyan oo gabdhood baa ugu jirta ama la guday ama khatar ugu jirta in la gudo waddankana sharciga adag baa ka soo baxay oo qofka lagu dacweyn karo hadii aad halkan degan tahay oo aad isdhahdid waddankana ku sameyn waddan kala tag oo Somali oo tag kala ku soo sameey oo aad soo noqotidna still waxaad jabinaysaa sharciga waana lagu dacweyn karaa taas ayaan ku soo koobaya and thank you very much. If I can come to you, Simon, there has been lately a lot of articles and press releases of the media, and I give credit to the FGM campaigners who've done a tremendous amount of work, and it's actually it's wonderful you guys are here engaging with the community. But what else do you think we can do to educate people and to engage with the communities?
Something that is already happening that Anne has mentioned and the work Jerry is leading. There is a new risk assessment tool that is being shared with health, with social services, with police and education, so that we can identify the risk factors for female genital mutilation. So the message that we would want to share through you to the listeners on Somali TV is that if you take your children home, don't practice female genital mutilation. It's illegal. You will be prosecuted. You can go to prison for 14 years. The first prosecution has now started in Islington, and the message that we want to share is that you need to know it's illegal. It's illegal if you do it in another country, and there is a sea change in public opinion. If you look at just yesterday, the Vice Minister for Social Affairs in Somaliland announced in the media the intention of their government to totally eradicate FGM. She said there is no basis in Islam for it, and we want to spread the message when people go home for holidays in the summer, don't do this.
Fantastic. waad maqlaysaan dabcan haddaad halkan degan tahay oo aad ka kaxayso oo aad xaggaba isleedahay kusoo gud waa illegal baa lagu leeyahay sharcigaad jabinaysaa qofkii ugu horreeyay oo xaafadda Islington degana way socotaa dacwadiisii marka waxaa lagu boorinayaa runtii in laga dheeraado arrintaas wuxuu kaloo taabtay shalay bay ahayd markii mid ka mid ah wasiirada Somaliland uu yiri ayimkaygu waxa weeye inaan waddanka oo dhan ay ka joojiso ama ay tiri gabar bay ahayd baan u maleynayaa if I come back to you and with your report, obviously there is a lot of recommendations, and can you touch a few or one of them in terms, for example, with working with schools?
Well, it's very important that we do work with the primary schools, so we have recommended that training is provided for teaching and non-teaching staff, and for governors. It's very important we have lots of people from the community serving on our governing bodies in our primary and secondary schools in Brent. And it's very important that they are made aware of this, and that each school has a safeguarding policy which applies and particularly focuses on FGM as one of the areas to look at. So by the time that everybody is made aware of this, they will be able to help families who need advice or who need some help or a child who is fearful that this may be done to them if they're taken home on holidays, there will be people around to support. We can't do this without the community's help. We have got some wonderful Somali organisations in this borough, and they all know this is going on now. So between all of us, we can make a difference on this issue. And it has to be not just the police, it has to be health. So the GP surgeries, Northwick Park Hospital, they're all helping with this. It needs to be social services, the children's services, it needs to be education, it needs to be all of the professionals involved in doing this, working together to bring about the change. We don't want any more girls hurt in our borough in the future.
Thank you very much. Waad maqasheen waan wada shaqeyn in sidii looga hortagi lahaa iskuulaadka iyo hospitaalka iyo gidigeed in laga wada shaqeeyo. Waxay kaloo runtii u mahad celisay community-da localka ah oo iyaga laftigooda arrintaas ka shaqeynaya iyo iskuulaadka. Waxaan rabaa runtii inaan idinka laftigiina aan fursad idin siiyo haddii aad tahay qof FGM soo maray ama experience u leh ama asagu ku dhacday. We would like to hear from you, and feel free and to call us, please. And we want to hear your stories, and especially if you are a victim of FGM or someone who has experienced FGM. And if you are worried about young women out there watching the show and thinking, you know, where can I seek help? Please feel free also to call us. We will also be putting some information on the screen soon, where you can contact with and Met and social and in terms of local governments. But come back to you. I will be happy to take few calls when you got one, and I'll also like to say UK callers only, inshallah. Maadaama subject-gan uu yahay subject aad u quseeya and wadankan Ingiriiska waxaan ka codsanayaa UK callers kaliya. Can I take the first caller, please? And hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Hello, can you put the telly down and speak to me on the phone, please?
Okay, all right. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, I did.
Welcome. Can you speak English and throw your question, please?
Yes, I can speak English.
Go ahead.
It is a good idea if the government is stopping the people is female circumstances. It's very bad, very painful, and it's against the religious, against the God, against the law. It is a bad culture. It's 100 years going on, and all the Somali women is disabled now. It's disabled, and it's very bad. It is a very painful disease. They got a hemorrhage. They got a infection. They had, if you did, they had everything. So I appreciate if the government is to stop it. And all Somali people, they must be stop it. It's against the law. There is no any religious. There is no the God. There is against the God. Everything. It is a bad. It is a big operation without anesthetic, without medication, and all young girls, majority was dying.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad you feel that way. Please spread the message. The aim is to prevent and happening to the young people. And if I come to you, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely welcome the caller's comments. Let's be absolutely clear about this. In terms of the conduct, the conditions in which female genital mutilation, FGM, cutting takes place. You know, it's without anaesthetic, it is without medical qualifications, it is with dirty instruments which might be blunt, which might have been used on other girls. And of course, they're very short-term, but much longer-term, exceptionally serious ill health consequences as a result of the conduct of the practice, which may well lead to a loss of life, which may well lead to a loss of a child's life later on in years as well.
Absolutely.
But I welcome your caller's other comments around you know, the fact that the community have got an absolutely critically key role in preventing future girls and women undergoing FGM. And it's that team effort between the police, the government, education, health, but importantly, the community to stand up and say, no, this has got to stop, and it has got to stop now.
Yeah.
And we will work as part of that team effort with the community to empower them to do that and to empower them to say that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And runtii pointigaasna waa muhiim inaan fahanno conditionka ilmaha yarka lagu sameynayo caafimaad ahaan quality-ga ahaan wax medication aysan jirin ilmahaas waxa laga yaabaa loss of life inay halkaas ka dhacdo. Imagine ilmo yar oo 10 years ama 13 years oo inta without medication la kadgareey noloshiisa dhumiyay. Muhiimadda ugu weyn waa intaas waa protectionka ilmahaas lifekiisa. Waxaan ku booranaynaa runtii in aad laga tashado oo arrintaas si open loo diido hadii alla idmo. If I come back to you and obviously mothers are very much on the case of saying no. That's a wonderful step itself. But what can we do also in terms of working with mothers and workshops and perhaps to raise more awareness on FGM? What's the local authority or local government is doing about it? In Brent, if we take it for a case study.
Okay, I too welcome your callers' comments. I think they're very, very pleasing to people like me who've known about this for a long time, and the coverage that's given to FGM now is very welcome as well, and the language has changed and we're all very honest and straightforward. But you can't do it without the community. And in the school where I'm on the governing body, we have had some sessions with some of the mums, and we've had a specialist from one of the African organisations down, in this particular instance the African Child, talking to the mums, and they often share their experiences then with the people, either in a group or one-to-one afterwards. And they have suggested to the senior leadership in the school that it would be good to have a session like that for dads to come and do the same thing, maybe with an imam there who can explain that it is nothing to do with Islam. It's not required by Islam. It is a very harmful practice for girls and women, not only the trauma of the initial cutting, but giving birth afterwards. For many, many years to come, the women go through very bad times giving birth. They have to have reversals done prior to birth. That is done in our hospitals in the UK, but it makes life very much more difficult for those women, and other health problems sometimes follow that. And they then cannot be full contributing members of society like they would if they were just left alone. It is completely unnecessary, and working with the community we can make this happen.
Definitely, and waana maqlaysaa runtii in community-ga lala shaqeeyo caafimaad ahaan arrintaas ay dhowr mar ku noqotay iyo iskuulaadka in lala shaqeeyo oo la empower gareeyo community-ga laftigooda oo arrintan diiniyana diinta islaamka waad ogtihiin meesha ay ka taagan tahay inaysan ahayn wax sharciyan ah. Marka runtii waxaa la oran karaa arrintaas in lagu sii dhiirado oo la sii baahiyo. Bal qofka ku xiga telefoonada ayaan eegayaa. Let me take one more call please. waxaan rajaynayaa runtii inuu ahaado UK dadka ka soo wacay arrintan ay qosaysa iyo legislation-kan. Muhiimadda kalena waxa weeye, please tell someone haddii aad garanayso FGM experience aad leedahay, iyadana sidoo kalena soo wac. waa jecelnahay inaan fikirkaaga iyo taladaada aan maqlo. Bal qof ku xiga aan fiiriyo. waxaa kaloo runtii aan xasuus mudan inaad barnaamijkan aad ka daawan kartaan maalin walba oo Arbaca xiliyadan oo kale iyadoo week ka xigana lagu soo qaadan karo. While I wait for the next caller, Simon, and if you want to comment on the issue.
If I could, I think just really to reiterate all the work that Anne's done and Jerry's doing, the focus for us from the police is prevention. We do not want to be arresting and prosecuting, splitting up families, causing additional pain and suffering. And all the training that's going into health, to education, to social services and police is about spotting the risk signs. So the message that we'd want to give to your viewers, the Somali community, is there is a big change in the way government, police and all agencies are looking out to prevent FGM. And I think that's something they need to be aware of, because we don't want to be prosecuting more people. We don't want more girls abused.
Absolutely. And I could say, I guess that's why you are here to.
Well, absolutely. I mean, as Simon's pointed out, that by the point we get to arrest and prosecution, sadly, it means that a girl has undergone FGM, with the exceptionally serious physical, psychological, and health consequences that brings. Our absolute thrust of our work is around preventing FGM from taking place in the first place. But importantly, working as a team with the community, affected communities, working across government with health and education to enable that to happen.
Fantastic. And we are glad to be part of that, and as a Somali journalist, just to contribute in our own little way. If I can take the next caller, please. And hello, assalamu alaikum. Hello, assalamu alaikum. aad baan uga xumahay qofkaas waa ka go'aan u malaynayaa bal dhinaca kale qofka ku xigaan eegi doonaa insha Allah. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة. تيفيك اسكا قاعد والله تلفك يجلس على.
وي يورا المحاضرة.
وكوسا دو برنامج محاكو ترسل ساعة.
أنا ما قاعد.
قاد كماها برنامجكو قاد كان كمان نهلين and our next caller thought we were going to discuss about the issue of cat. But the issue of cat, let me go back to the subject. واسيد على screen كشاشة كداونيسان برنامجكو وحكاها اللي Gudniinka Fircooniga qaadka ninka u jidbaysan waxaan leeyahay balka wala joojinaya mar dhow ka quusta laakiin barnaamijkan wuxuu ka hadlayaa FGM-ka iyo dhibaatada ay u keeni karto ilmaha yarka oo riskiga ku jira iyo sharci ahaan wadankan sharciyada ka soo baxay ee looga hortagayo sidii arintaas loo joojin lahaa ahmiyada barnaamijku waa intaas dabcan martideeduna nolol joogto oo nagala qayb qaadanayso bal qofka ku xiga ayaan eegi doonaa dhinaca telefoonada hadii alla idmo waxa kale runtii xasuus mudan in ahmiyada barnaamijku ay tahay education in booliisku yimaadaan sidii uu ka hadlay Gary Campbell uu ka hadlay preventing in laga hortago ay tahay waan u mahad celinaa bal qofka xiga allo salaam alaykum allo salaam alaykum
alaykum assalam
ha walaal magacaaga meesha ka soo hadlayso af Somali welcome magacaaga ku bilow
hooyo Soomaaliyeed
hooyo Soomaaliyeed haye maxay kula tahay fikirkaaga
waxa ila tahay aniga iyo hablaha iga anu ma rabo inaan gudo laakiin iga gursanaya hablaha
waa good question maxaad kala ku daraysaa
waxa kale oo ku daraya dadkii baan ka baqayaa inaan maxay haytay aanan gudin hablaha iga inta hor waxaan gaaray inaan ku fikiro inaan meel ku xidho oo maad aragtay aan islaan u soo geliyo oo aan idhaahdo gudi ilaa kii idinkoo qaylaya soo baxa adigu waad soo martay adigu waad soo martay xanuunka waad aragtay xanuunkaas gabdhaha ma u qoori lahayd alla ilaa waan arkay hay ku soo qaadin kaas
okay stay on the line stay on the line telefonkaaga ku jir su'aashaasan gudbinaya a mom says I'm a Somali mother I have been through the pain and suffering I've got 3 beautiful daughters and I don't want to do it but culturally I'm under pressure to do it and because who's going to marry my daughters if I don't do FGM? What would your recommendations would be?
Well, I think for this caller, this is very difficult. If she's got 3 daughters that she's trying to protect, then what we need to do is to help her. And actually, there is an FGM helpline from the NSPCC. I'm sure you'll give that number out later. But she should be able to, if she's a Brent person, I don't know where she lives, this particular person, but if she's a Brent person, she should be able to talk to somebody in the children's centres if she takes her children there, if she has small children, or in the schools if her children are in schools. She should be able to find somebody to speak to there. And if they are of an age where she's under pressure from her own community, standing up to a community pressure is very difficult for her. I sympathise enormously. I would like to tell her to come and see somebody straight away so that she can get help with that. And certainly the Somali organisations here, the Help Somalia Foundation and the Red Sea Foundation and so on, they will all help her with this if she wants to do that.
How are you? Traffic ku jirtaa wali? Walaal please number baan ku siinayaa. Numberkan horta qoro. وإبر سديد إبر
أيه
لبا سديد
كاغان هادو كاغا سعودين كينينا يا
كيغن أوكي برنامجكم مركو دماده بليز يسوع
أوكي إن شاء الله
and then وأركينا سيد لغو عاون لها
أوكي
thank you very much
Is it possible to also add, as Anne says, there are a number of Somali organisations, charities, third sector groups that are very strong in their opposition to the practice of female genital mutilation. There is a lot of support within the Somali community that says this is wrong. We are saying it's illegal, but the help is out there within the Somali community to support this lady. If only through Red Sea Foundation, speaking to Abdi Farah or other people who represent those self-help groups, it's out there and she shouldn't feel alone.
And definitely waad maqlaysaan iyada kaligeedna ma aha iyo anybody oo dareemaya pressure from community waxaan leeyahay horta waxa ugu muhiimsan inaad adigu stand up garayso oo aad caruurtaada adigu protect garayso waxana waa dhaqan dhimanaya help uu jira Red Sea Foundation baa jirta halkan Berenti Help Somali Foundation baa jira anaga laftigayga waad nala soo xiriiri kartaa numberka shaashada ku qoran showga markuu dhamaado si aan NSBCC iyo more information idin siino insha Allah laakiin reality waxa weeye waa very old habit waa very bad habit and unfortunately oo caruurtaada lagu damqayo marka uu istaaga oo iska difaacayaan leenahay cidii pressure idin ku saaraysa qofka ku xiga aan fiiriyo dhinaca telefonka
Assalamu is there to help her because it is illegal. No one can take her children abroad to do this. No one can do this to her children here. It's illegal. It will be prosecuted. And the message she can tell anyone who is trying to encourage her to do this to her children is I can't. It's illegal.
waad maqlaysaa simbali hooyadii hadda arinta soo qaadanaysay cid walba kugu booriso dhahda waa dhaqan waa kan iyo kan wax illegal ah oo sharci wadankan ka yaala ma jiminayo because aniga laftigayga xabsi ku gali karaad oranaysaa runtii waana kaaga mahad celinaya aad iyo aad markale inaad soo wacday qofka ku xiga balan u gudbo halo assalaamu calaykum
wa calaykum salaam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh
ayo walaal magacaaga beesha ka soo hadlaysa
I'm London and Ibrahim. I'm speaking from London, Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, if you ask in English, will be lovely.
Okay, and I just want to comment the previous caller. So that we can provide the help and advise whatever she wants, but the way she's talking is a very, very bad. If she has girls and one. Without and thinking that no one can get married. I'm sure 100% if she does not do on her daughter's FGM and will be better and will get someone to marry automatically. Everybody looking for those without FGM. Nobody wants interest to get married. The girl with FGM. It's a bad thing. And this habit we want to stop all communities. Inshallah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And message is the girls without FGM. There is actually, and just to share with you, there is a very sophisticated clip done in Somalia. It's young people. They do a workshop called "Don't Do It for Me," and these are potential youngsters who are looking for marriage, and they are saying, encouraging girls, look, it's illegal, it's painful, we don't enjoy it. So what's the point of doing it? So yeah, and I agree with you, and there is no point of no conditions. I think, and that if you don't have an FGM, you will not get married. I think it's the other ways around. Do you want to comment on that?
But that body of support by men and women, young or of different ages, speaking up and taking a stance against FGM, talking about how harmful it is, talking about that it's not a rite of passage, it's not a measure of a young woman's chastity, it's not part of becoming a woman. So what I'm hearing is that body of support from different people within the community having the courage to stand up and speak out against it is absolutely fantastic to hear. But we need more of it.
Yeah.
We need more of it. We need to be in a position to empower girls from saying that is not going to happen to me, and from the mothers and the fathers to say that this is not something that's going to happen to my child. I have got a direct responsibility to look after to nurture and develop my child, and they're not going to undergo this procedure.
Yeah.
It's very good that a man has phoned in and said that. I think that is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should underestimate the courage of the lady that phoned in about her daughters.
Yeah, definitely.
She's just taken the first step in saying no. And I would like to congratulate her on doing that. And she just needs to go and get some more help. And hopefully you'll be publicising the numbers where she can do that. But that is an important first step. And if she can be helped to maintain that stance, that'd be really good.
Inshallah. And well, maybe so I say runtii showga kadib ayaan isku dayaynaa inaad adigi aan aad wada hadashaan, and after the show inshallah, and just to link you up and further information iyo help meesha aad ka heli kartid. And waana kaaga mahadcelinayaa runtii inaad courage-kaas leedahay aad soo hadashay sida aan ay tirina waa first step oo aad prevent already ku samaysay ilmahaaga inaysan waxaas ku dhicin. Bal qof ku xiga aan eego dhinaca telefoonada. Hello, assalaamu calaykum.
Alaykum salaam.
أي والله المقعد ماشي كسر الله بلو.
حليل حمدي بحكي هلا لندن.
حمدي from London. ما حي كلها تاي إنجليش ما عرفت تاي مثل الصومالي ده كذا شرط.
أنت على الصومالي إن شاء الله.
صومالي إن شاء الله. أوكي. subjectي والله سعودي. ما حي كلها تاي أرنتن FGM كا.
ها. وارن كنت آدي أضفي عن. وارن آدي أنا وسدوينه وفي عن وإحنا ترنسا. لكن waxay ku qurux kuma filna oo kali ah hal mar TV-ga laga sheego hal mar oo rulkii la soo saaro kuma fiicna waxaan dhihi lahaa waxay ku fiicnaan lahayd in community-yaasheena la caawiyo baraarujin badan dadka loo sameeyo si fiican loo maaragtay loo dhiirigeliyo meelo badan oo space badan oo dadku isku arkaan lagu sameeyo si fiican loo dhiirigasho ku fiicnaan lahayd.
Thank you very much.
waxaan kala dhihi lahaa hal mid hadaan ka codsan karo hal mid aan ka codsan lahaa dawladda Ingiriiska hal mid aan ka codsan lahaa hal mid ma waxa dadka u diidayeen oo dhibka ka caawinaysan oo kaliya ilmaha yar yar oo wadankeena ku nool kaliya hadii aad samayn lahaydeen oo kaleeto dawladdeena oo kale aad ku caawin lahaydeen barnaamijyadaas oo kale oo badan oo wacyigelin ah waxaan haysanaa dhalinyaro badan oo fiican oo caafimaadka bartay haddaan ugu caawin lahaydeen oo kale si aan ilmaheena xitaa wadankeena meelaha fogfog ku nool aan dhibkaas uga caawin lahayn oo kale aad baan ku mahadcelinaa oo naga caawisaan dhibkaas oo kale oo meel fog jooga oo dhibkaas oo badan haysta aad iyo aad u badan.
Thank you very much, Hamdi. 2 good points. I'll try to translate that. And
thanks very much.
Hamdi said thank you very much for the show. I think it's wonderful. I am very lucky that I just put the tele on and happen to be watching, and it's beneficial. But I think more needs to be done in terms of highlighting how crucial this FGM, to stop this FGM is. I'm a mother, I would never do it to my daughter. But more needs to be done to raise awareness. This is a one show. What more can the government and the authority do? The second point is a special request. Maybe she said it's out of your remit, but I would love to see more FGM work in Somalia. There are a lot of health workers, a lot of people who are willing to do it, but that's where the horrible incidents and horrible cutting and horrible FGM taking place. So the second message is more to the British government to do more to preventing FGM in Somalia. You want to comment on that, Simon?
I think it was literally in the Evening Standard yesterday. The Deputy Minister for Social Affairs, Shukuri Ismail, announced their government's intention to totally eradicate FGM. If you wanted a more clear and unequivocal commitment from a Somali country, Somaliland, you couldn't ask for it. They've yet to deal with the legislation, but you've seen from the work Anne has been doing, all the charity groups, all the Somali organisations that are lining up behind Brent local authorities say this is wrong, this must stop. If you look at all the work being done to train police, social services, health and education to identify the risks, to enable prevention to take place, we have passed that tipping point.
Definitely. On Maqlaysaan sidoo kale, do you want to comment on that?
No, I think Simon is Simon's hit the nail on the head with some of the work that is taking place in Somaliland now, with a clear announcement yesterday. But what we've got to see is demonstrative action clear action taking place. You'll have seen over the last few years, and specifically the last couple of months here in the UK, around the body of support from across the different sectors around declaration of the absolute need to change, the absolute need to move the agenda forward, to save young people and prevent girls and other women from undergoing FGM.
Yep.
So that movement is very much happening here and now. We have got to take radical action, and I think the time is right now to take that radical action to prevent FGM from taking place.
The government did actually allocate £35 million to be spent in countries abroad to combat FGM in different countries. So they have actually allocated some money. They have actually set up an FGM helpline as well. So the fact that it is so much on the news, the Evening Standard has done a wonderful campaign on it. There have been specialist programmes on the television, like Layla Hussein did that wonderful programme, didn't she? And so it's being talked about. It's not the taboo hidden subject that it used to be. We are all able to talk about it now, and that's a good thing. And your callers are echoing that. It's fantastic to hear.
And there is something very much about the honesty of the conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what we're hearing from your callers. And that's why, certainly personally, I think it's absolutely fantastic with some of the comments and what we're hearing from your callers around the absolute need to stand up against this as a community.
Absolutely. waad maqlaysaan dabcan xamdi bay ahayd gabadhii walaasheeda fikradda soo jeedisay wadankanna runtii waqti badan iyo juhdi badan baa la geliyay in laga hortago Soomaaliya iyo Somaliland gidigoodna waxa ka socda hawlo lagu xakamaynayo oo ay madaxdoodu dhaheen waa joojinaynaa dawladda UK-na 35 milyan oo pound bay meel u saartay hadda 35 milyan oo pound hadii la FGM kala dagaalamana waad ogtiin haddaan maalintii FGM kala sameyn baan nasiib leenahay marka shaqo badan kole halkaas way gali doontaa baan isleeyahay bal qof ku xigaan u gudbaya dhinaca taleefanka. Allo assalaamu calaykum.
Calaykum salaam wa rahmatullahi wa barakaatuh.
walaal magacaaga iyo haddaad ku bilowdid English mise Soomaali horta inaad ku hadashid.
Soomaali English weligeey ma arag.
haye soo daa fikirkaaga soo daa.
wuxuu waaye fikirkayga waa wax fiican inaad halkaan maanta aad ka hadashaan. أنا waxaan ahay maamo Soomaaliyeed waa wax aad iyo aad loogu farxay in halka dad aqyaar ay soo fariistaan gudniinka ka hadlaan midda labaad gudniinka in la dabar gooyo waa wax aad iyo aad u fiican waa wax dhibaato aad iyo aad macaato dadka ugu badan tahay Soomaaliya aniga buuq dhan ayaan ka buuxi lahaa hadii aan ka hadla taariikhdeedii gudniinka
haye
marka eedada aabbahay la dhalatay hal gabar ay gabar ka qabtay gudniinkaas ay u dhimatay.
I'm sorry to hear that.
marka aniga waxa waa aniga 7 sano jira ayaa la guday mar labaad ayaa waxa la igu celiyay aro 12 sano jira.
haye
marka gabdhahaygana ma aanan gudin marka waxa aad iyo aad u wanaagsan in gudniinka la dabar gooyo dad badan ayaa xaraw aaday dad badan ayaa dhibaato maxay ugu sugan tahay dad badan ayaa xanuun ka bixila marka wax aad iyo aad loogu farxo adigana aad iyo aad ugu mahad celinaa barnaamijyada aad keentay.
thank you walaal aad iyo aad baa u mahadsan tahay waxaan rajeynayaa runtii showga kadib inaad soo wacdid storygaagu waxay noqon kartaa mid dhiirigelisa dad badan balka malag aan iswareysan information kala qaadano. My caller said I have been through FGM not once but twice. I was 7 years of age and it didn't work well. And the second time I was 11 years of age. She said I can write a book, the pain I have been through. I'm a mother of girls. I will never do it. But I would love to tell my story and I will encourage the community not to go through. My best friend, she said, he went on to say, my best friend, in 7 years, when I was 7 years, she died of bleeding. وأنا مقلة بان أمالينيا and runtii waa very powerful message waa no FGM and taasana ku filan baan umaleynaya and runtii in ilmo yar oo 7 years jira uu ku dhinto and then why would you do it is the question. And do you want to comment?
I just think your caller is so brave to do what she's just done it really makes me very emotional to hear the stories from some of these women and to go through this ordeal twice. And she will need support so that it doesn't happen to her girls. And I'm sure there would be an opportunity for her to tell her story if she were to give some details to you, that we could ask her to come to some of the things that we do at Stonebridge School and tell her story. That would be absolutely wonderful.
Definitely. And when also
can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
A woman's body is very beautiful as it is. It doesn't need cutting to make it acceptable for marriage. It is very beautiful, and we all have to say that to ourselves. Our bodies are beautiful.
maqlaysaan waxaan runtii ka codsanayaa gabadhaas after the show inay nala soo xiriirto waxay tiri I can write book about it. I'm sure inay ka qori karto, laakiin platform ay la share garayso storygeeda dhalinyarada kale la shaqeyso local authority baan isku daynaa. Marka please call me after the show inshallah and contactiga aan kala qaadano. Sir, do you want to comment on that? Very painful story.
Totally agree with what Juan said. That your last caller has been exceptionally courageous and brave by reliving and telling your audience and us her story. I think there's something about if your caller needs to seek further help by way of dealing with her own experiences, and I think that's really that's really important, and we need to, through your website and your channel, give your caller further details of organisations, culturally aware organisations here in the UK that to ensure that she's referred to specialist support, but so that she can, if she wishes to do so, to express her experiences, because by expressing those experiences, it will educate and make other people aware.
Definitely.
It will inform people's choices, and the graphic descriptions of what we've just heard are a clear, it informs a clear choice of what not to do, and the clear impact of cutting.
Yep, Simon?
Possibly just to add, it's a tragedy what happened to this lady, but the important thing for me is the callers who listen to her story should do something about it. That means challenge within your community to use the NSPCC helpline 0800 028 3550, to use the Crime Stoppers helpline 0800 555 111. We want to prevent it happening. We don't want another disaster like this lady's had twice.
waad maqlayseen runtii waa inta aad sheegteen. Numberkana waa numberka shaashada ku qoran, you can see from the screen. Please feel free to call that number. And ahmiyaduna waxa weeye gabadhii walaashayna inta ay hadda sheegtay, just to make sure inaysan cunug kale ku dhicin. Intaas weeye ahmiyadu. And waana runtii gabagabadii barnaamijka ayaa la soo gaaray. Numberka shaashada ku qoran for all information. Haddii aad isleedahay walwal baa ka haysta, ama haddii aad isleedahay help, there are organizations oo badan oo arrinta tan ka caawinaya, language ahaan lagala kulmi karo, and definitely we will encourage anyone oo arrintaas concern qaba, even if you are concerned your next door neighbor or it's just for the child. Imagine cunuga u dhintay 7 sano asagoo jira knife lagu gooyay. Just that could be your child. Marka, please contact.
I think it's absolutely important that we get across here now is that if any of your callers have got any concerns whatsoever about either someone who's likely to undergo FGM, who's likely to be taken out of the country to go on a family holiday, and has got serious concerns about FGM, then they should approach the police service. Simon's already given you some details of the NSPCC FGM hotline. Inquiries will be dealt with in a sensitive and confidential way. Our absolute aim is to prevent girls from undergoing FGM and reliving and living through some of the experiences that we've heard from some of your callers. Our absolute aim is prevention. Our absolute aim is about the safety of girls and women, and so we will conduct support them, and if we need to conduct investigations, we'll do it in a very victim-focused and very sensitive way. But our absolute aim here is around working with the community and preventing FGM.
Thank you very much. And waxaan soo gaarnay baan umaleynaya gabagabadii barnaamijka. And Simon, we're approaching the end of the program. Obviously, FGM is the dish of the day, but to encourage community to report crime, and whether it's FGM or any other crime, what number can people call in?
Well, there is the child the NSPCC line, which is 0800 028 3550. You could speak to one of the many Somali groups that are very anti-FGM, but you could also use the Crime Stoppers number anonymously to pass information that would enable us to work with social services and prevent this before it happens. That was 0800 555 111. 0800 555 111.
waad maqlaysaan numberkan shaashada lagu soo qoraya waa 0800 555 111 ama 1800 555 waa kaasa shaashada ku qoran, and you can see it from the screen. Numberkaas waca, not only FGM, if you are concerned any other crime, and we're safety of the community, we're safety of the country, we are all in it together, as they say. Marka muhiimadu waxa weeye haddaad isleedahay cunug yar hadda Soomaaliya laga soo celiyo kowal walsano aad si u dhutinayo and u sheega, because cunugaas in la safe garay way. And your final comment, please. We're ending the show.
Okay, I'll try to make it quick. It's a big subject because violence against women and girls worldwide is described by the United Nations as a global epidemic. This is one particular thing we're focusing on here, one particular awful practice that we want to eliminate. And I'm just so pleased to have been on here. Please invite me back again. I'd be very happy to come back and talk about this again, because I think this is a big chance for us to make a difference in this country. And your brave callers who've phoned in today, they deserve all the help they can get. And if these numbers are given out afterwards, that would be wonderful.
Lovely. And we will, and the numbers are on the screen. And Crime Stoppers number 10, NSPCC 10. Our aim is really to highlight the whole issue and to prevent, like our lovely officer said, the crime taking place in the first place. And this is the aim of the show. And inaanu engage garayno, inaanu idinku boorino ka hortaga dambiga inta uu sadcin. Waa hadaan nahay bahda Somali Journal, my lovely guests, and waxaan idinkaga tageynaa insha Allah tani intaan barnaamijkan mid kale la mid ah ku kulmi doono. waa aniga Abu Karawala idin soo gudbinay waa numberkaas Crime Stoppers 0800 NSPCC gana waa taqaanaan fariinteedu waxa weeye no FGM. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi